good vibes only. Ah.
Hey, it's funny. And I know I said I was going to be more consistent with uploading, but y'all, it's not funny. But like the week I was having, like the month I've been having, the year even, terrible. And so y'all know how I got a bunny. She passed away. Get this, on the 4th of July. Yeah, 4th of July afternoon, she passed away. Um, turns out that my vet suspected that she had like a degenerative disease, and it was only a matter of time. I'm mourning her. Her funeral is gonna be soon and all that. And so super sad, but um I cherish the memories that I have with her and the short time that I had her. And yeah, so that's basically why I've not been on here and just a lot of stuff, you know? But I wanted to remake this video. It was actually supposed to upload like weeks ago, but again, the year I've been having truly dumpster fire. Truly. And so the file got corrupted, and so I couldn't like upload it, and then all my files, 'cause to save space on my like computer, I always like delete the files after, right? I knew damn well I should have done that, but like I said to myself, "Oh, I won't need it. It's okay." No, it was not okay, and I could not recover the files, so I'm redoing this. So we're gonna get into the first little clip, and then I'll, come back with my commentary.
We're not from Africa, we are natives. It's our land, we all know about the slave ships. We're not from Africa, we indigenous. I need you to listen, I need you to be getting this. We not black, we not black. Know your story, family history, that's stats. We not black, that's a curse. Let's put this curse to rest and be blessed, yes.
So I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying. Let's take this serious, y'all. They said they're not from Africa. They are natives. What? Let's get rid of this curse and be blessed. Being black is a curse, they said. It's the natives. We are blessed to be natives. Yep. 4C hair? You mean 4 natives hair? Okay. Okay, but let's really talk about it. You're telling me you're okay. Okay, bunny. Let's not, because I'm holding back a little bit because we have other stuff to get to, and it just gets worse from here. The delusion, the crack addiction, honestly, because you must be smoking crack. Must be. Whatever drugs you're on, please let me know so I don't take them. Please, please. Um, and so the idea, they're basically saying that being black is a curse, and the fact that they're being referred to as black is a curse. But the exoticals are the ones who are colorist and racist and all this stuff. Like, here you have the Hoteps saying that they're not black, they're natives, and being black is a curse. I thought that sounds a little bit like, that part of the Mormon Bible, is it? Where they said that being black is a curse. And, the black people really, really hate the Mormons, right? So that's funny that y'all don't see the little connection where y'all are the Hoteps. I'm telling you, Hoteps are like racist. They are super, super racist, right? There's like the Hotep who flips through, oh, black supremacy, and the Hotep who's like, no, we are the originals of everything. We are the blueprint. I am God. Like that Kanye West interview, I am a God. Yeah. Like, you're telling, and also, why would a person who proclaims themselves as native wear a headdress, correct me if I'm wrong, that is only meant for ceremonies and made for people, for like leaders who are like pretty high up in the tribe and stuff like that. So why would you, that would be disrespectful, no? So like you're saying that you're natives, but wouldn't a native person know that? Weird.
Yes. Native Americans have a large literature. They have libraries full of literature on their culture, spirituality, sociology, way of life. Native Americans left a record of their civilization. You can read and study Native American civilization. The American African, although it was illegal for us to learn, although it was illegal for us to learn how to read, we left a vast literature of our experience in America. You can read our own words from the 17th century. You can read our own words from the 18th century. You can read our own words from the 19th century. You can read our own words from the 20th century. We have a vast catalog of literature. So let me say this to the pretendians. Y'all were here before we got here. Which I agree with. Which I agree with. Which I agree with. What I disagree with is when you say you didn't come from Africa. So please produce the literature of the pretendian nation. Show me the authentic literature of the pretendian people where they say they did not come from Africa. Can I please see that? Can I please see this large repository of pretendian literature that says they claimed they didn't come from Africa? Ain't nobody show me that yet. I ain't seen a piece of literature from a pretendian yet. Original manuscript from ancient America where black people claim they didn't come from Africa. Where is the pretendian literature? Where is the pretendian literature? Where is the pretendian literature? Pretend Indian, pretendian. Pretend Indian, pretendian. Pretend Indian, pretendian. Where is the literature? The ancient literature of the pretendian people.
Child, he was overdoing it, but you know, but he was right though. I hate that Dusty man. I really do. He's annoying. He's a Dusty. He makes people baby mamas. He's a liar and he's a Hotep. So I hate him by, just right off the bat, hate them. And, that's the thing. You know how he had to emphasize reading and literature? Because these are two things that Black people don't do. They don't read and they don't like literature that goes against their beliefs. And a lot of people don't like literature that goes against their beliefs, but I feel like there's a certain energy and weirdness around reading and being book smart and stuff like that. It's all about this Black excellence, but did nobody forget about how people who were actually, practicing Black excellence, our young doctors and all of this stuff and engineers who were being called all types of nerds and, oh, you read, oh, you do well in school, you're a nerd. That's white people shit. Reading is white people shit. The first person I saw on TikTok get so excited about reading and encourage people to read? A Black woman who was like, oh my God, I read this book. Y'all should start reading and stuff like that. Ma'am, people have been doing that. Why is it that people now need to come out and say, y'all should read and stuff like that? Because of this type of shit. Y'all just say anything. That's the problem with the internet. You can come on here and say anything. And with no facts, with no proof, with nothing, right? With no actual points. And people will go along, a lot of people will go along with it. And that's the thing with these pretendians. Why do they not have literature? Why do they not have this information? They never bring statistics. Like, genuinely, genuine statistics, right? And proof and studies that aren't biased, right? And they just they just come on here, just vibes and whatever, and they're just like, no, it's a curse, and they say the most anti-black stuff, but everybody else is a racist. Everybody else, they're, oh, it's the white man keeping me down. Hmm? But you just said, you're quite literally saying that being black is a curse and that you don't know nothing about slave ships and stuff like that. And it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? It's like you're trying to run away from your blackness, the same thing they accuse us of doing. Very funny, by the way. And like, we don't see what we see. Ma'am, I can clearly see that you're African American. I can clearly see that he's African American. Now I'll give them this. They possibly could be part Native American, right? But I don't think they actually did a DNA test. I don't think they actually have the grandparents, the Native American Blackfoot grandma that they all like to claim. Um, I don't think they actually have that, because I have yet to see a Native person who actually has the genetics and, the family that are Native American to do stuff like this. They don't, like, they are involved in their community. You see them with their grandmas and their family and their cousins, stuff like that, at the reservation and all of that stuff. Sorry, I'm not extremely versed on Native Americans. I'm so sorry. But from what I've seen, the little I have seen, this wouldn't, it doesn't give me it feels disingenuous. It feels like, how they say that biracial people, when they have braids and, they might be a white passing biracial or something like that, right? Oh, you're putting on a minstrel show, you're making fun of us and stuff like that. Y'all don't think this is minstrel showy to do that to you don't think this is along the same lines, maybe not as severe, but it's you're trying to erase Native American people, and you don't think that's problematic in any way without any proof. You're just okay.
Mandinka. What foodstuff that you talking about? That's African. I ain't no African. Well, I'm Mandinka. We're proud people. And I'm American. I was born here. My mammy and my daddy was born here. And my daddy's daddy. I ain't no African.
Her using a fictional TV show loosely based on a true story, um to prove that she's not African, is so dumb to me. Anybody with at least two brain cells to rub together would know that you can't just make such a conclusion out of fake, basically a fake show, And I guess in her mind, it's like, oh, this was 1977, and so they knew back then, they were having the conversations that I'm having today and all that stuff. But that's a speculation, and also it's a dumb conclusion to come to, especially when there's so much proof. There is so much proof. There's records of, like, book of ancestors. Do you not know about that? Do you all not know about that? Or it's weird to it I feel like I lose brain cells every time I come across videos like this, because it's like, what, have you not studied any type of history? Do you not have any type of critical thinking or anything like that? Like, what? But it's like, I don't understand what they think they're going to gain out of this, because we have eyes. I can tell that you're black. And you know how they say, oh, you sound white, da, da, da. Well, you sound black. So you look black, you sound black. You're probably black, mama. Like, You're not convincing anybody. And if you did not come from Africa, then where did you come from? Are you saying that you're now the new Native Americans or the original Americans, right? Where is that proof? But they never have any proof. Never. Never. It's weird. And I think it's telling that this person is also kind of doing what the woman in the show is doing, where she's trying to distance herself from being African, so being black, right? As a way of feeling better about her situation, about being feeling better about her placement in society. You know how the black community loves to talk about how, I'm low on the totem pole. Oh, nobody likes, we're the most disrespected and hated and all of that stuff. So this is their way of kind of, you know, saying, oh, I'm black, but you're black. We're not the same. We're different. You see how we're having so many conversations. Has nobody else noticed so many conversations about, oh, African Americans look different. They look different. Yes, mama, they do. But at the same time, it is not all of you that look, you know, and they try to say, we're like more mixed and stuff like that. Yes and no, because it was not all of you that procreated with white people, with native people and stuff like that. It's like y'all are taking a few bunch and then approximating yourself to them as a way of feeling better about what you are and your identity and stuff like that, instead of doing the actual work to work on how you feel about yourself and your low racial self-esteem. You're now trying. It's weird. It's just like y'all say, you know to the mixed people, to the biracial people, oh yeah, you only look that way because your grandmother was owned by a da 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 by a slave master and stuff like that. Y'all love to say stuff like that, but you're so quick to claim that colonizers' blood, that slave masters' blood, and stuff like that. So it's interesting to me that when biracial, when mixed people, when all MLS people do it, it's such a problem. But when you do it, it's like, oh no, I'm living my truth and all of this stuff. Oh, okay. So it's terrible when MLS people do it, but not when you do it.
Check
Got
this
it.
out. Scientists and researchers have recently discovered that only 8% of the African Americans that are here were actually brought here through the slave trade from Africa.
Y'all already know what I'm going to ask. Where is the proof? Who were the scientists? Name the study. Please name the scientists and the researchers and, all the stuff. Please, 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 please provide the proof. And spoiler alert, he does not provide any proof, any research, any study, or anything like that. Not the scientists' names, not the researchers' names, none of that. He says, oh, somebody asked him in the comments, he said, oh, do your research yourself or something like that. I said, what? But sir, you brought it to our attention. Why are you now, saying, oh, do your own research? What? Can you at least link the study and you know, but no, they don't want to do that because they know it's a lie. It's a coping mechanism. And it's a sad one at that because, African Americans have such beautiful culture. Yes, they do have culture. Thank you. Like, before anybody starts doing that shit, no, 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 no. Let's not. Like, why would you, why do you need to do this? Again, it's this thing of feeling like you're at the bottom, so now you have to grab onto other people. Might I say, like a tether? Oh, did we get there? Did we just twinning them? Yeah, but also a thing popped into my head where it's like, Are we lumping in immigrants, like African immigrants who came from, let's say, Sudan or Ethiopia or something like that, with African Americans, and that's where that statistic is coming from, or what? Like, it just, where is the information on this? Why are you just coming out here and making it seem so dramatic and scandalous and all of this stuff? No, sir. Please put the statistics. Please put the research. Please link it in your bio and all that stuff. Um, why? Why do they? You have to think to yourself. Why do they need to make it so dramatic? Why can they not just put the proof there and say, "See, this is what I mean," and all that stuff, and proof, like actual research. People don't just come to these conclusions. Where is the research? Where is the proof? Where are the studies? Where is it?
This means that 92% of the people, of African Americans that are here, were already here. They were Native Americans.
I really think this man misread the study and just didn't understand it and overestimated the numbers, because that does not sound accurate at all with the history that we have, that you know is available to us, that has been told over and over again, and that there's proof of. It just wouldn't make sense unless he's misreading something. That is not exactly how studies work. That doesn't mean that, oh, 8% are here because of that, which means 92%. No, that's not how that works. That's why more people need to read, evidently. That's why. Where, where is he getting this from? Why is it always people who look unambiguous who come out and say this? I have yet to see a very, mixed looking person, or just mixed looking person in general, not an exotic will say, oh, I'm mixed. And then they'll come out and say, well, you're not as mixed as her. She has 3B hair. And, and they'll just go on and on about all these mixed qualities that she has compared to you. But I never see that. It's always people who look very black, who have Afrocentric features, who are telling me, oh, yeah, oh, I'm not black. I'm not African. Okay. You and your Delulu ass can go sit over there in a padded room with the others.
Americans, native to North America. This is a powerful revelation. We are Native Americans, not African Americans. You get it? You got it?
No, sir, we do not get it. You look African American to me. Don't look a lick of Native to me. Not a lick of Native American in your blood that I can see on you. You know how they say, oh, well, you don't look mixed, so you can't say that you're mixed. Well, you don't look Native to me. Mm-mm. Where's the proof? Where's the grandparents? Where's the classic Native American, Blackfoot, Black. Yeah. Is it Blackfoot? Who knows? Y'all tell me. Y'all will tell. It's this. Okay, chill. I already told y'all I'm not well versed with Native American tribes. Okay, why? That does not mean that you're Native Americans. And also, if you're a Native American, you that's not how that works. You have to have a certain blood quantum, first of all, and you actually get a certain what's it called? I have no idea what the thing is called, but you have a little thing where they give you certain benefits and stuff like that. You wouldn't like, that's not how that works. That's genuinely not how that works at all. And you would have to go through a process of proving that, and you would have already known. You would have already gotten those benefits. So you can't just proclaim yourself as Native American. You actually have to prove that. That's not something you can just say. Wasn't there this thing, a similar thing in Australia where they a bunch of white people were claiming that they're Aboriginals, right? And then they had to prove that. And I believe there was even a whole debate about it. And they were saying, oh, I'm this and that, and oh, my grandfather was this and that, and they had to really prove that shit. They couldn't just say it. You couldn't just say things like that and get away with it. And I believe it's the same for this case. You can't just say that. Where is the proof? Sir, where is the proof? Don't just say, oh, I found the study, and then don't cite the study. No, that's not how it works. I know your old ass has been to college and knew you had to cite resources, so why are you not citing them now? Don't piss me off. Like, no.
They told us we was black and that the real natives of this land was the Indians that look like the Indians that come from India. But if
First
y'all
off, Native Americans and Indian people are not the same people. They are not the same people. The stereotype that Native Americans are Indians is actually a racial stereotype perpetuated by, well, started and perpetuated by white people who who didn't bother to figure out who these people were and was just like, oh, they're Indians. Yep, that's what they are. So it's why would you? I think a Native person would know that. I think a person who has Native in their family would know that. But yeah, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Some Native people don't mind being called that, and they don't care. So let's just see where she
yeah.
goes with
But
this.
if y'all would ever go to Mississippi, the place that they try to hide the most, you'll see black people that actually look like Indians with long flowing hair, just like the
Okay, who is we? And there's two we's I want to know about. First of all, who is the we that is hiding the places where y'all indigenous people are, in quotation marks? Um, you know, and the we, as in, are you saying you believe you're indigenous and the people with the long flowing hair, like the Indians, the native people, you mean? Again, weird that she would call them Indians and not native people. Um, but I don't, it's this thing. Let's let her talk. Let's let her talk, and then I'll come back
hair,
again.
just like the people from India, but they're black. They have a lot of melanin in their skin. They're dark skinned. As a matter of fact, most of my cousins are Indians.
Okay, I wanted to let her speak, right? But I have questions. I have questions, okay? And I'm not doubting that she's Choctaw Native American. Thank you very much. Um, but you know, she's saying, "Oh, my cousins, they have long flowing hair. They have hair like an Indian woman, right? But do you have that hair? You see what I'm saying?" And she's saying her family is Choctaw Indian. Okay, but it's possible for them to be Indian, but you to not. That's a very possible thing. Like for example, I have some cousins who are Lebanese. However, I myself am not Lebanese, you know? So it's very possible for that to happen depending on who married who, but that doesn't mean you're that. You see what I'm saying? And it's like you see this thing where a African American people do, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I have this cousin, so that means that I'm mixed." No, 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 no. That's not how that works. And it's like that video that I made of that woman saying, "Oh, my sister is more exotic than you," and all that stuff. Like you just because somebody else is mixed doesn't mean you're mixed and you're in proximity to them. And it just feels like why do you have to use somebody else to prove that you're something? Because I don't need to bring up anybody else in my family and say, oh yeah, because they're that that means that I'm this and that's my claim to saying that I'm this and that I'm that. No, that's not how that works. And when they bring it up, it feels so disingenuous. It doesn't feel like, oh yeah, that's just a part of me and stuff like that. You see how they always say, oh, you're making being mixed part of your personality and stuff like that. Why do Hoteps make being indigenous and the first of everything their personality? Why do they love saying that and acting like they're such victims? And oh yeah, I was the first of everything, and I was, you would have thought they invented everything, everything. So it's like it's a bit tricky here, but we'll let her still speak.
Indians. They are real Indians, Choctaw Indians. But they told us no. And if you say this to somebody, this is just how brainwashed that they have people believing that you're black. Like they just made this up. That if you even say this to them that, hey, no, I'm actually a Choctaw Indian, that they will debate with you and they even start to tell you how you're nothing but a slave. And I'm talking about some of my own people have done this. And even
So
one
again, who are they and who are the people? Because you said that you're Choctaw Indian. Now, let's use our thinking caps, Of course, she's probably saying, I'm black and Choctaw Indian, right? Because she did mention, oh, they'll have you thinking you're just black and stuff like that. So of course I'm not, but I just wanted to troll a little bit. Just a little, right? But so it's interesting that you already know what I'm gonna bring up. They always say, "Oh, white people are doing this. White people are da da da. White people are so racist." But who is calling you a slave? Who is saying that you're nothing but a da da da? Probably an N word that they're saying. It's other black people. So it's like, see, this is where the lies start to come out, and it starts falling. The story starts falling apart because you can't lie so much, And let's not act like black people haven't lied about being Choctaw and Native American, all this stuff for decades, centuries even, one might say. It's become a common joke where people think, oh, as soon as you say, oh, my grandma is Choctaw Indian, she's Blackfoot, she's da da da, and they think you're lying because a lot of people were and are lying, which is why people say to take tests, which is why people say that they need proof and stuff like that, especially if you're trying to apply for benefits and things like
and
that.
even want to go as far as to say that, oh, well, you need to take a test to prove this. Like, come on now, be for real. They tricked you. They didn't want to give you any resources to this land, so they lied to you and they made you feel.
Now, I am all for a conspiracy theory. I'm actually not against that being a theory. However, if you feel so strongly about it, why would you not take a test and prove that you have the genetics, you have that 25% to prove that you can have these benefits and you should have these benefits, right? I'm not against like her saying that, oh, they were tricked out of land and stuff like that. It's a possibility. I don't trust a lot of governments and things like that and people in power. However, you still have to find a way through the law, within the law, I should say, right? So it would make more sense. It's like, why is she more like upset about this than if you feel so strongly about this, just get the DNA test. Why are you so like
to you and they made you feel like you were black, you're not indigenous to this land, you weren't here first, there were people here before you? But how could that be? What if they actually, what if we are the Indians that they were talking about? We were already here and they came over with their boats and they took people from here and they spreaded them out all over the world.
This is my third time watching this, right? What? What did she say? What did she say? Oh, she is Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. How did she come to this conclusion? Oh my, I'm telling you, Hoteps are crazy. They genuinely are crazy. And honestly, I hate to throw around the word narcissist and narcissism and stuff like that, because that shit is real, and as a survivor of that, I hate when it gets the term and phrases surrounding it get thrown around. But do you know how much narcissism you have to think that somebody really cared enough to take you and your ancestors, right? Because they didn't want you to have that specific land and just spread you all out. So how would that even work? How would we have no, you know, witnesses to that? There would be stuff about that. There's not like you're telling me that y'all would just the coping is so crazy. All because you don't want to be told you're black. All specifically African. It's like I see that they're kind of okay with being called black, but not African. They really hate that. Remember how they started saying, "Oh, I'm Black American, not African American, and nobody in my family's from Africa." Oh my god, ma'am. I just, and to an extent, I kind of understand that, because they don't call white Americans just European Americans, right? But I would also say that the only people who should have the title American, just put plainly, are Native Americans. Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those. Yeah. But it's like, why would they? That makes no sense. What? What? I Guys, I cannot. I cannot. Because how did you come to that conclusion? How many brain cells have you fried off to make that conclusion out of all conclusions? You had a better chance saying that, you know, after slavery ended and they wanted land and stuff like that, that they were duped out of it, and the people who were native and black were duped out of certain benefits and things like that. She had more of a chance saying that. And I would have probably agreed. But you're telling me there was this grand conspiracy to take native to take native black Americans, right? And just spread them across the diaspora. For what? What gain did they have? Because at this moment, there are so many countries who have black people in it that are trying to have stricter immigration laws and things like that. You're trying to deport people, and what? They're mad as hell that a lot of black people are in their country now. You think they purposely imported Africans, black people, for what? For what? That's what? Anyways, let's let her speak again.
Over the
Sadly.
world. What if they did that? You're not gonna tell me that they took everybody from Africa and everybody that looks like me with melanin in their skin, that they brought them on a boat from Africa. Yeah, right.
Interesting that she said everybody that looks like her. So you kind of don't see yourself as actually native, because it's why you see how she's kind of differentiating herself, like, oh, I look like people that look like me. She didn't say like her cousins who have the long hair like the Indian woman. She said like her. So you're kind of exposing the fact that you feel that you're more African or just African than native. Like, and I do agree that no, they did not take everybody from Africa and put them all over the diaspora, obviously. But anybody who has brain cells knows this. Anybody who has any type of knowledge of history knows this. You know, this is not groundbreaking news. This is not a grand conspiracy. But I don't. She's trying to make this into this uh, sophisticated conspiracy. For what? For land and money. Child, what did anybody gain from that? what are you trying to say that the Native Americans just like what? And who is the we? Who is the they? Who are the people? I'm confused.
Come on now. Let's start with the fairy tale. Maybe they brought some people over here, but I'm telling you, some people were already here. As a matter of fact, a lot of people were already here. But every time they show Mississippi as being a slave state, nothing but slaves, and this certain look of people. But if I can only just show you pictures of my cousins and what they look like, you'll see how these people lied. They straight lied to us. Okay?
I just know her cousins are tired. They must be getting referenced every single day. Please, leave. Why are people so ready to bring out their cousins and their sisters and all this stuff to prove, oh yeah, I have mixed people in my family. I'm mixed because I have this. Please leave people alone. It's actually pretty scary. It's really weird. Like, I'm glad she recognizes it wasn't, all. And it's like, yeah, duh. But at the same time, she's saying, oh, there's a lot of people who were there before. Um, where is the proof? Please, 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 please. Where is the proof? Like, sure, people were already here in the Americas, I'm guess she's saying, but that's not that's there's points and key facts being missed out. And I understand her saying, they only show the history of Mississippi being being of slavery and, just terrible things. However, there is documentaries, there is certain stuff about um people who are like black and native and just mixed people um in Mississippi and southern states and things like that. However, it's just not as popularized, and that could be, she could make a theory off of that, and questions could be raised about that. However, it's to make it a theory and this whole conspiracy theory about taking land and resources. eh, yes, sure, but at the same time, the way she's going about it, the narrative she's trying to spin doesn't really work when you know history. It just doesn't work, But we're going to move on to the next video.
I'm not confused about what I said. You are confused about what I said.
Okay, let's hear it.
Which is that Moana went in search of her ancestors. Yes, ancestors. You don't know that they are ancestors because you don't know the etymology of that word.
Now you
Already, people who do this thing, y'all know. I hate people who use words that are viewed as big words, right? And they learn a new term and then they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna use it in this argument because it makes me look really smart. No, it doesn't. Especially when you don't know what you're talking about, it makes you look actually very dumb. And already she's so condescending. You don't know it, but I do. Girl, bye. And also, how does she know this? How does she know that Moana went in search of her ancestors? And why is a grown woman going so hard for a movie for for children? Interesting, but we'll let the video play.
you didn't know that the film wasn't actually her looking for her ancestors because you didn't watch the film. Neither did you know that there were actually other dark-skinned people that look like Africans that don't refer to themselves as Africans or the N-word because they're called Melanesians. Nowhere in the entire film did it say that she was going in search of her ancestors. What it did say was that she needed to reconnect all of the people of the ocean, otherwise her island, Motunui, would cease to exist.
But I've done the research to learn what it means, and I know that time is an illusion.
As soon as people start saying stuff like that, I just walk away because you're not based in reality. It's something not there. And I'm a spiritual person. However, are times where you need to be so freaking for real. And it it's now. You called them the N-word because you feel like you can call dark skinned people, black people, the N-word, and you're comfortable with that in your culture, but they are not, and they will not tolerate being called the N-word, or even if it's just a cartoon or whatever, right? And you're now backtracking and trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm just so smart, and oh, this and that, and you act like he's overstepping, like other people rightfully, Pacific Islanders are rightfully stepping up to say, hey, no, don't say that, you know. And now you're trying to make it seem like, oh no, I'm just so woke and y'all are just so sleep. Girl, bye.
Ah, yes, time is just an illusion. Let's erase 50,000 years of Pacific Island culture. Do you know how offensive that is? That's literally like saying the same thing as like, oh yeah, if you're Tongan and Samoan, you're the same.
Which is not the word that I use, which is the offensive word that you think I use. See, and she comes back with Negroes.
Hoteps love to lie. They really do. They love to lie and deceive and act like they're, oh yeah, I'm just so wise. You know, you just don't understand because you're sleeping. And girl, bye. Like, you're not convincing us. They got you in 4K. In 4K. And what did I say about y'all calling each other the N-word? Like, why? I just don't get it. I don't understand calling yourself stuff like that. This is in the 50s. We are not on a plantation. You are not, there's no segregation anymore. I don't understand. I'm not understanding. I don't understand.
I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch. Don't understand. I don't understand.
You cannot call Pacific Islanders the N-word. The reason for that is because that is a racial slur. Now, it might be acceptable in your culture, but in Islander culture, it really is not acceptable.
Because
Translation. Ho, you might be calling your ancestors Negroes and niggas. However, we don't call our ancestors that over here. Okay?
Because you don't understand my culture.
They really love that excuse. Oh, you just don't understand my culture. Oh, people fighting, shooting up the place for no reason, booty shaking at classy restaurants. Oh, black culture. You just don't understand. Respectability politics. How dare you? You're a racist. If I was light skinned, you would. They start pulling out the dumbest reasons, right? And it's like, no, that's not acceptable to call somebody that word, period. But especially when it comes to Melanesians, because you don't understand the implications of calling Melanesian people that, like, because you feel like, oh, well, why is it with black people, their first reaction is to call fellow black people or people that they perceive as black as derogatory terms? You don't see anything wrong with that? You don't see anything weird? You don't find that suspicious? Okay. And also, does nobody else think that she seems like she's like nervous, like she's scared, right? Because she knows that she's pulling stuff out of her hiney. Like the way she's like cradling her arm there and just, you know, the movement, the hand movements and stuff like that. It's like you're trying to put on this like game face on, but like I can tell you're scared. I can tell you are feeling the heat.
Nowhere in any of your videos, this is like the third time I've repeated the same thing, have you ever apologized for using that exact racial slur? Even though I made it very clear in my very first video, this is what I said. Basically slavery. And they called these Islanders or Melanesians or Polynesians or even Aboriginal Australians as the N-word. And lastly, you go on and say that it's anti-black to basically not refer to them by this N-word, but here's the thing, you're basically anti-human by saying that everybody needs to identify as the N-word. You're basically canceling Maori culture, Polynesian culture, Melanesian culture, Micronesian culture. You're claiming that they all are just a subcategory. They're not a subcategory. They're a new category, a completely unique, and there's nothing wrong with identifying as something special, as something unique, as something different. Because here's a great example. You don't know me, you don't know my history, you don't know my parents, you don't know my family, you don't know my experiences. I have very unique experiences to you, and you have your own. Completely different. We are different people. We are not the same.
Translation. Ho, me and you are not the same, okay? Hashtag not like us. You're calling us black? Ma'am, we are Melanesians, Pacific Islanders, not black. Come on now. Who are you talking to? Saying that we're all the same. Who the hell are you talking to? Well, who said that? Oh no. No, no, no. You cannot come to whatever they call the equivalent of a cookout for the Pacific Islanders. You cannot come to the luau. Is it? Y'all tell me. Y'all will tell me. Yeah, girl, who are you? We didn't see you at the luau. We didn't see you at anything. No, 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 no. We are not the same. Please do not call our ancestors that. You're weird. Get some self-esteem. And you see how he slyly, okay, end of translation. You see how he slyly said, you're being anti-human because we're not all the same. Mm, Listen, I would have cried had somebody replied to me like this. Oh my God, y'all really need to get some self-esteem and a better sense of identity besides attaching yourself like a tether, to different groups that are not that are not exactly white or black. It's really weird. Leave people. Oh, and I thought I'd do a rundown on the list of what black people have said that they are. Okay. So they said that they're Native Americans, also Melanesians, also the Moors, also Indians, the natives and South Asians, Southeast Asians like Philippines, and that gingers are black. However, unfortunately, for MLS people, not black though. Completely different, white. Yes, just completely white. Who cares that you have a black dad? Who cares that your grandfather was black or whatever? No, 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 no. Everybody else, Melanesians, Moors, Indians, natives, and South Asian, yep, black. Even Southeast Asians, Filipino people, exactly black. Those are brothers. Those are brothers and sisters, according to them.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And then to go claim that you're anti-black for being different. Me personally, what makes the world a beautiful place is that there's so many unique and different cultures and peoples and languages. That's what makes the world beautiful and diverse. To try and make everybody one or the same is basically not acknowledging what the world for what it really is.
Wow, I would be so embarrassed. Oh God, I would be crying and throwing up if if a person of another race had to tell me, love your blackness. Y'all telling me that's not exactly what he tried to say. It's like, it's okay to be black. It's okay to be black, That is so embarrassing. But yeah, in conclusion, this is the end of the video, right? If you are calling me a tether, baby, you're going to have to look in that mirror. Look at that man. Look at the man in the mirror and call yourself a tether too. Because, baby, I'm not the one claiming like infinity stones, like infinity stones, different races and nationalities and all of that stuff. No, 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 no. I've stood firm in what I say I am, like, but yeah, please like, please comment, please subscribe. Oh, I forgot to say, I make no promises on uploading or anything like that. Tough time right now. I will upload when I upload. I'm sorry. It is what it is. This was your favorite unambiguous black dad signing out.
Smell like Medusa. I'm tryna eat that. I'm tryna eat that ass in the pussy. I'm tryna take it a pound.